But in 1992, I had the privilege of going to help Pastor Trevor Yoko in Chayandima. I just went there to help him for 4 days because he said, please come help him. Well, he ended up leaving me there. And he went to heaven, and I'm still there. I'm going to have a battle with him when I get to heaven one day and say, yeah. But I'll end up in this situation. I didn't apply for the job, and I didn't plan to go and do that. But I landed up there. And that was the first time on my way there, we stopped at Pastor Jack's house. That's when I met Pastor Jack in 1992, I think it was. 29 or 30 years ago. But I just met him, this pastor who had just come to Alberton a few years or however long. I didn't know. Didn't even know who he was or anything. So I met him, hello, goodbye, because we stopped there. I can't even remember if we slept at his house or we just stopped, had a cup of coffee, and we rode off into the sunset. And I get dropped inside a township, the Chayandima township. I'm living in a caravan under a marula tree. And I'm like, Jesus, I hope you know what you're doing. Because this is not what I had planned for my life. But here I am. Anyway, I can't tell you the whole story. There is a little book called The Miracle at Chayandima, which you're welcome to get and read one day. But as we land there and we get on with what we have to do, Pastor Trevor says, please help me, just do it. Because he's got to go to Russia and a few things. And just please keep the ship, keep the thing going, get things going. Start the school. I'm like, you're crazy. I'm an engineer. I've got nothing to do with school. I've had no school training whatsoever. I'm an ordinary guy. Don't come and tell me to start a school. Start what? The first parent meeting I had in Chayandima, there was over 300 parents. I must run a parent meeting. I nearly died. I nearly died. But I knew one thing, that, okay, God, you've dropped me right here in the sea with the sharks. It's so more drown. And one thing that I knew that made my ordinarity, if there's such a word, very extraordinary, was that I'm about to die unless God helps. And all I could do is say, God, what now? God, what do I do now? Every single day, like 10 times a day, I was saying, God, what do I do now? God, how do I handle this? God, what is happening here? I even had a few battles with the Lord, saying, God, what are you trying to do to me? If you want to kill me, but this way is painful. It's not cool. So we had been there and trying to get the school running, 257 children, starting a school with 257 children. Are you crazy? 9 staff members and 257 children. Work it out. It's complete madness. It doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, I went down to visit some family, and it's near Durban, and visiting some friends. And I had 2 friends, they were teachers, qualified teachers, excellent, good teachers. They said, what are you doing? So Mrs. Palmer said, well, we're trying to start a school. We just landed there. We like got no choice in the matter. God has put us in a township and said, start a school. So they turned to us and said, you are not qualified to do this. What are you doing? You're not even teachers. So Hazel said it to this, like this. She said, you're absolutely right. Please will you come? You're both teachers, one high school qualified, one primary school qualified. This is exactly what that mission needs. You. And they said, where is it? Chayandima Township, Northern Limpopo. Never. We ain't ever. And Hazel said to them, you know what? God has got to use the donkeys like Brad and I, because the racehorses are not available. You see, God's got to use ordinary people, because sometimes the people that are qualified, they are there. They do have the expertise, but are they available to God? Not very long after that, you see, I already had the fight with the Lord. I already said, Lord, you don't know what you're doing. I'm not qualified for this job. This is not what I had envisaged for my life. I have not been trained to do this, Lord. I think you're making a mistake. But it's a dangerous thing to argue with God. You know what happened? Who was it? Jacob got his hip out of place. Eh? So don't fight with God too much, because you're going to lose. He's going to win. And so in that battle, I'm arguing and I'm fighting and I'm saying, God, I'm just going to leave because you're making a mistake. And God spoke to me and he said, I know what I'm doing. Do you think you know better than me? I said, well, I hope you know what you're doing. Well, I really don't feel qualified, and I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, and this is not comfortable at all. About 6 months later, this official rocks up there. He's in a three-piece suit. He's dressed to the nines, you know. He asked to see me. Somehow he knew my name. And he comes and he sits in front of comes in my little office. It's about a 2x3. The makeshift office there. And he sits in my desk. I say, good morning, sir. How can I help you? And he sits down and he says to me, what do you think you're doing? And I'm like, geez, this is interesting. What a way to start the conversation. It's not like, hello, how are you? I am this or whatever. It was some official. He says, what do you think you're doing? I said, what do you mean? He says, his next line was, you are not qualified to do what you are doing. He didn't know I'd already processed all this. I said, sir, God sent me here to start the school and mission. And if you've got a problem with that, you need to go and have a chat with God. You see the difference now? Because it wasn't something I'm trying to do. It's something God is doing. And so I really want to encourage you this morning that God uses ordinary people. Today the school has got second-generation parents. It's produced doctors, lawyers, evangelists, pastors. I mean, the whole lot are out there. The chief building inspector in our town is one of our students. His children are now in the school. It is changing the atmosphere. It's changing the whole area. And I always say, just put one righteous person in any government board, in any place, anywhere, where decisions have to be made, where money is flowing in and out. Put one righteous person there, and now corruption is killed. But you've got to get the righteous there. And the righteous come by discipling and growing up young people that are going to lead tomorrow. And so that's why I do what I do. Not only that, but after that, I went around and I helped other schools. I've helped probably about 50 school staff. But I'm not a school person. I'm not even qualified to do school. But God said I am. God said that's what I must do.